Hey everyone, welcome to Adobe Illustrator. I want to get started by showing you how to set up files for any future exercises or projects that are going to be required for this class. You can start by either going to File, New, or if you have this icon or window available, go ahead and click New. There's going to be a lot of different ways in which you can save a document. I want you to pay attention to this top area here and focus on the word print. We are only going to be dealing with print files in this class. For this exercise, you're going to be working with a letter size document. Now, my particular situation is set up in points, so my form of measurements I'm going to change to inches. This will clearly show you the 8.5 by 11 setting size. Now for orientation, I have it set up for a vertical or portrait style orientation, but you can set it up for landscape. For this particular exercise 1, I want you to focus on a portrait style. Next, we're going to check out your artboard. We're only going to need one. And I want you to focus on your color mode. This is CMYK, which is set up for print. That's cyan, magenta, and yellow, and black. So we want to go ahead and leave it there. The next thing I want you to focus on is how to name your documents for my class. Now we are working with an exercise, so that's going to be an E, but if you do a project, you would put P. Then you put the number of the exercise or project this is. We are focusing on the 1, so exercise 1. And then I'm going to ask you to do your last name and first name, and you're going to capitalize your initials. So capitalize H for Hurley and J for Julie. And now I have the proper way to name my file. Once you have this all set up, go ahead and choose Create. When you're creating in Illustrator, the first thing I want you to pay attention to is right here. This is what we call our fill and our stroke. Our fill is white, our stroke is black. This is our default. If you click this little icon here and click Default, this is what will happen. If you need to change the color, you simply click either one of these by double clicking, and you will get a color picker here that will come up where you can choose to move around, or you can go to color swatches and choose a color here. Same with your stroke. Double click and you can see the variations and change, or leave it alone. Okay. Another option is on the top here where you have what's called an options bar. And you have your fill color and your stroke color. Once you have your fill and stroke set up, I want to show you about the first tool, which is the pen tool. It is one of the most difficult tools to learn, so pay attention. So I'm going to have you click on what looks like a calligraphy pen. And when you hold it down, you can tell because there's a little triangle right here in the lower right hand corner of the tool. It'll let you know there's more variations of that tool or new or different tools underneath. So if we hold that down, go all the way to the right with our mouse, we can click on what's called a tear off. It's that little thin dark gray line right now. And now it holds all those tools available for us to utilize. So we're going to start here with the pen tool. And I'm going to show you 2 different ways in which you can easily draw with this. So we have where you can just click and then drag around and then click again and drag around and click and then drag again to the end or not and click. Now when we're clicking, this is creating what we call anchor points. You can see it makes a little blue dot if it's selected, or it makes some white open ring to let you know that it's an anchor point, but it's not selected. The lines between the 2 anchor points are what we call segment lines. So we have the segment lines, which connect to the anchor points and create the shapes. Now this is what we call an open shape because it's not closed with the anchor points connected. If we want to close it, we're going to hover over the anchor point and it's going to create that little open ring at the bottom of the icon, and you're going to click that, and now it's an enclosed shape. If we want to do a curved line versus a straight line, we can click with the pen tool here, and then when we go, again, I'm not clicking anything, just hovering with my mouse, moving it around. When I'm ready, I'm going to click and then pull. Holding down the mouse, I'm going to pull to create what's called a Bezier curve. Now, it's telling me the direction in which my next line is going to go, right? So this handle here is directing the line. So depending on where we click next, we'll have a different direction. That's if we want it to stay curved. Okay, and if we're done, you can go ahead and click V on your toolbar and it'll stop the point. Okay, going back to our pen tool, go ahead and click P on your keyboard or clicking the tool here. This showed you a nice smooth. Now I'm going to show you a smooth and a straight line. So we can do a smooth curve. And go back and click on the anchor point to go up to make it straight. And if we want to go do a curve again, then we can click and pull. If we want to continue the curve, we can, or we can go back to the anchor point, click, and now it's half curve, half not. Okay, so this is the basic pen tool. Now, we have a whole bunch of anchor points in different locations. Now, you can actually add or delete anchor points. So obviously the delete would be the minus sign where you can just click a button, delete. If you want to add one, you can add one as well. If you add one on a straight line as opposed to a curved line, you're going to get a different result. Now, if you want to move the anchor points around, you need to use what's called the direct selection tool. Now, the direct selection tool selects parts of a line as opposed to the entire line. That would be the selection tool, which is the black arrow. So we're going to be focusing on the direct selection tool, which is focusing on one anchor point. And then we grabbed a handle, not the anchor point here. So I'm going to undo, Control Z, and I'm going to grab the actual anchor point now and pull it out. So this here is a curved one. If we go to where we selected our path or anchor point that was on a straight segment line, you can see the anchor point we added is a straight line, so a hard anchor point. Now when you create a curved line, when you look at an anchor point, you have what's called handles. The handles are what we can adjust the line. And the angle of the curves. This is both of them, but you can actually specifically grab one handle and move it around. Next, we have what's called the Convert Anchor Point tool, and that's here. Now, the Convert Anchor Point tool does a few things. For one, it can convert a curved point, anchor point, to a hard anchor point. And it can create a hard anchor point back to a curved anchor point. But another great thing it can do is if you grab a handle with a anchor point tool, you can then change just part of the line segment rather than the whole thing, affecting both. Because originally when you grab it with the direct selection tool, it creates a handle where they both affect each other, right? So it doesn't actually affect that way when you grab it with the Convert Anchor Point tool. You can also pull just the one point all the way in and have it be a hard anchor point. And at any time you want to switch it back, just click the anchor point and change it. So now that you've seen the different ways in which these tools can be utilized, let's try to draw something together. So the first thing I'm going to do is with my selection tool, I'm going to select all, which is Control or Command A. Command A if you're on an Apple, Control A if you're on a PC, and then I chose Delete. With the pen tool selected, we're going to draw a fish. So you're going to click here on the left-hand side of your page, and then I'm going to go to the top area here and click and pull my handle, holding down my shift key so it keeps my handle straight. And then I'm going to go down to where I want my fish to continue. And then I'm going to go up to where I want my little fin to start. I'm going to go down. And this time I'm going to click and pull to create the curve of the tail. And then I'm going to go back to my anchor point here because I do not want this to be curved. I want it to be a hard anchor point. So I'm going to click the anchor point. So now it's a hard line again. Go back to my tail here. And click. And then I'm going to go to the very end, and where my anchor points, see that little circle that's letting me know this is an enclosed shape, I'm going to click and pull up so my handle goes down to complete my fish. Now I want you to try to do this yourself. Pause the video and draw a fish. Now that you've completed that step, now I want you to try to draw a fish a little differently. We're going to draw the same fish, but utilizing just straight lines, segments and anchor points, and see if we can convert some points. So we're just going to make a series of hard lines and anchors here. I'm holding down Shift to keep my lines straight. And close. All right, so now I have a basic form created, and then using my anchor point tool, I'm going to convert the points from hard points to curved points. So I'm going to click and pull to create these handles, and if I hold down Shift, my handles will stay straight. If not, I can move them around. Pull that one out, and then I'm going to go to my bottom one and pull in my other direction here. Then I want to create my curve here for my tail. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to pull. But when I pull, I'm now, since if you look, my anchor points, they're all white, except this one's blue. So I can actually utilize my arrow key, the left arrow key on my keyboard, and just pull it in. And now I have drawn same idea, the fish, and I can use my direct selection tool if there's something specific I want to alter, like for example I want to grab this one anchor point and move it down, or I want to move this one over, or I want to shift something, I can do that here. Alright everyone, that is the pen tool in Illustrator. Once you feel comfortable drawing the fish, check out the next video.